Hello everybody, welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know that the sound is loud and clear, and let's get started. What a great fight. Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane. Incredible matchup, incredible fight. So many unexpected things happening in that fight. I'm so happy with all the action. It was a really incredible performance by both men. I really thought both men fought incredibly, and there's so much to talk about this fight. I'm going to jump right into it. Thank you guys for those thumbs up. Thank you for letting me know that the sound is loud and clear. Cyril Gane, very good first round. Cyril Gane, amazing first round. Now, look, I hate the way fights are scored. I hate the way UFC or MMA fights are scored. Not UFC in particular, but in general. I find that, yes, everybody's giving Gane the first round, but did he really do enough to win the round? In my opinion, those kind of rounds where nothing really happened, no real shots were connected, no takedowns were scored, nobody got hurt in the round. There was just a little bit of picking and poking and sticking and moving. There wasn't anything significant. In my opinion, that round is a draw. Okay, now, I think it should be a draw. I'm not saying it was a draw. If we go with how judges have scored it in the past, you'd have to give a slight edge to Gane because he picked and poked a little bit here. He landed a push kick here. He landed a leg kick there. Nothing significant, nothing to buckle. No fighter buckled the other. Nothing that fully connected. But like everybody, I'll concede that point, okay? The whole fight for 4 rounds was Ngannou coming forward and pressuring Gane. Watch that fight again. He's constantly pressuring Gane the whole time. Now, whether he won the round or not, round 1 and round 2, I think we can all agree that Ngannou lost those rounds, you know, with the classic scoring system. I'm not for the classic scoring system, but that's a different point, okay? According to the classic scoring system, Ngannou lost those rounds. Even though he was pressuring, he lost those rounds. Now, as he's pressuring Gane starts to break. He starts to fold. Round 3, he loses. Round 4, he's losing. And then round 5, let's skip to round 5. I'm going to talk about the other rounds later on, but round 5 is where it all happens. Round 5 is like the most mind-boggling championship round in recent memory. Gane comes out, and by the way, for those of you who don't speak French, after round 4, Gane's coach, or Gane's coach, he says, I got to tell you the truth, we're losing. Now, I thought it was 2-2. I don't know why his coach would tell him, hey, we're losing. We're losing this fight. You got to go and win. Now, maybe the coach was trying to rile him up to make him think he can get more out of his fighter. Or maybe his coach, Cyril's coach, really thought that they were down. Maybe he thought they were down 3-1. I think on most people's scorecards, it was 2-2. Yet his coach, for one reason or another, either he thought that maybe it was 3-1 for Ngannou, or maybe he was just playing mind games with his fighter and trying to get his fighter to go into flight or flight, fly or die kind of mode, like go out. You're not taking enough risks. If I tell you this, it's going to push you to take more risks. Regardless of what his reasons were, the coach said out loud, and you hear him loud and clear on the mic, okay, in French, he's saying, I got to be honest with you, we're losing. We're losing. I got to be honest with you now. We're losing. So what does Gane do? It kind of worked, actually, because if you watch that round 5, go see what happens in round 5. Round 5, Gane lands an elbow. And there's something else that his coach said. His coach said, il faut que tu sors les coups. Or did he say, il faut que tu sors les coudes? I couldn't decipher what he said. One of them would say, hey, you got to bring out the elbows. Or the other one would mean, you got to bring out the strikes. Now, I don't know if he said elbows or strikes. You can't really hear it. I listened to it once or twice. I just couldn't decipher whether he was saying strikes or elbows. Nonetheless, Gane goes out there and he lands an elbow early in round 1. Watch what happens when he lands that elbow. And Ngannou starts to back up. The first time in the entire fight, round 5, and Ngannou starts to back up. Now, at this moment, you have to think that Cyril has it in the bag. Why? He's going to continue to pick and poke. He's going to continue to stick and move. And now he has the advantage of Ngannou backing up. Ngannou ate a good elbow in the first minute of round 5. Early, very early in round 5. And now you see Ngannou start to back up. And Ngannou's looking a little bit tired now. For those of you who are not remembering round 3 and 4, he wrestled a lot. And Ngannou spent a lot of energy wrestling. Now, Cyril is also tired, but he looked more energetic in round 5. He lands an elbow, a beautiful elbow. He's finally getting Ngannou to back up. What does he do? Well, he actually hits a beautiful crackdown. In hindsight, I think that was a huge mistake. He should have just kept it standing. Pick and poke, stick and move. It's 2-2. You can win this. Maybe shoot the takedown at the last minute. No, he shoots it probably in minute 2. He scores a beautiful crackdown takedown on Ngannou. Gets on top of Ngannou. And then does probably one of the worst errors in championship fighting history in a round 5 championship fight. He drops back for a leg lock. Now, listen, I'm a leg locker. I love leg locks. Okay, I got a t-shirt that says leg lock everybody. I'm a leg locker, guys. I love it. I love the leg locks. But it was the wrong time to do a leg lock. If I was his trainer, I would have been very furious. I would have been calling for staying on top. Do not try to leg lock. Now, I think all of us will agree. I think everybody watching the fight was like, why on earth did he drop back for that leg lock in round 5? He finally has Ngannou on his back. He hit a beautiful crackdown. Now, I'm not against the takedown. I still would have told him, don't shoot a takedown yet. Wait. Pick and poke, stick and move. Ngannou's backing up. Stay on him with the striking. Nonetheless, Gane goes for it. He scores a beautiful crackdown, gets on top. It looks like he's going to bank this round. What does he do? He jumps back for the heel hook. Now, look, guys. I said earlier in my pre-fight analysis, I don't think Ngannou is a great leg lock escape artist. Okay, and he's not. And just because he got out of the leg lock doesn't make him a great leg lock escape artist. Ngannou actually kind of like just sat there and was just kind of peeling the foot off the hip. That's all he did. It was more Gane's. It was more about Gane making an error. That the leg lock didn't work because Gane made an error. Okay, Gane. I'll call him Gane. Excuse me. Some people tell me Cyril Gane, Cyril Gane. Pardon me. Okay, it's Cyril Gane. He was trying to finish the leg lock with his upper body. He kind of cranked it. He went 0-60. He gave it a big tug. He went, and then he just, I have to take a break. That's the wrong way to go out about a leg lock. Yeah, when you do a leg lock, when you're breaking somebody's leg, yes, your arms are tight, but it's not about ripping your arms from one side of your body to the other. This is incorrect. This is like an old school leg locking mentality. It's really about your hip pressure. It's more of an arm bar / knee bar than a twisting, ripping your arms from one side of your body to the next. Now, don't get me wrong, there is arm action, but he didn't involve his hips. He didn't involve his legs. And Ngannou grabbing the foot and taking it off the hip would not stop a very advanced leg locker. Now, Cyril Gane he's an amazing striker. He's an amazing wrestler. He's an amazing leg locker for MMA. He has a submission win via leg lock. It's not me trying to say that his leg lock game is not good. No, it's very good. It just wasn't good enough that day to finish Ngannou's leg. Now, he could have, if he had things correctly lined up, if he had things properly cinched up, if he applied pressure in the correct way. Also, his angles were off. Okay, his angles were incorrect. He was flat on his back and he was trying to use his arms instead of getting on his side and using his whole body. Instead of driving his hips, getting his hips involved and legs involved, instead of back heeling against the hips. And what Ngannou was doing to peel the leg off, that's not hard to stop. It's a good defense. Sure, it's one of the first steps, but that's very easy to pummel your foot free, trap the hip again, and crank on that heel. And when I say crank on that heel, I'm not talking about using your arms. I'm talking about using your whole body. It would be hard. I'd have to be on the mat to kind of demonstrate, but it was a very breakable, winnable moment. It was a breakable leg, and it was a winnable moment. If he had a leg locking expertise was a little bit higher, a little bit more detailed, he could have definitely scored that leg lock. Guys, it was locked in. It was locked in deep enough for a few adjustments, and then we have a broken leg and an undisputed heavyweight world champion. He tugged on his leg. He kind of took a breather, and Ngannou gets on top of him. And Ngannou starts to crush him. He goes for a second leg lock. Same thing. Not properly aligned. And guys, listen, I'm not trying to rag on him for missing a takedown. I'm just telling you why it didn't break. Why didn't the leg break? It wasn't put on right. It wasn't on 100%. The knee line was slipping out. He wasn't dropping his weight on the heel and driving with his hips. He wasn't back heeling. He didn't have good control with his legs. He was more using his upper body and in the wrong angle. Leg lock doesn't work. Okay, it didn't work. And Ngannou gets on top of him. Now, here's the thing with round 5. I hate the way the judging is, okay? Listen, I picked Ngannou to win. I'm happy Ngannou won. Congratulations to him. He won, no question about it. However, in round 5, Gane went for two submissions, and he landed more strikes. And he scored a takedown. What did Ngannou do in round 5? Well, he escaped a heel hook and got on top. Didn't get a takedown, but he got on top. And then he kind of partially almost mounted half guard. Like, he never scored any superior position. No, he did have the top position half guard for the majority of the time, yes. But he didn't land any vicious strikes. He didn't attempt a submission. He didn't progress to mount. He didn't progress to the back take. He just had top position and partial mount, half guard. Who wins that in that case? Look, I think most people would say the guy who got control and got on top, what Ngannou did. But is that right? I land a really powerful elbow. I land a few kicks. I take you down. I try to sub you twice. I have 2 legitimate tries at your leg. Isn't that more? Isn't that more than just getting on top? I don't know. Like, I still think Ngannou won. I just think that there's a fatal flaw in the way we judge fights, and that has nothing to do with Gane and Ngannou. Nothing to do. This is just a problem I have with MMA scoring. I just really think they need to rethink it. I still would love to see the old Pride rules where all the rounds are scored as one round. You watch the fight, it's just one fight. Forget the breaks, forget the rounds, forget all that. Just look at the fight as a whole and you tell me who you think won the fight. Now, of course, fighters will fight very differently. They will fight very, very differently. I used to think that the fights were better that way. When Pride had those rules, there was something special. There was something special because even though the guy won the first few minutes of the fight, he was still fighting till the end. He wasn't banking the rounds and then kind of cruising. No. There was none of these kind of strategies going on. It just made it more of a real fight, which I thought was really, really great. Okay, so that's a side point. And Ngannou won that fight fair and square. He fought brilliantly. Okay, now let me address Ngannou's win here, what he did in the fight. I think round 1, he played it smart. Even though he lost round 1 officially, I think he played it smart. He just kind of stalked Gane, and he just kind of like collected information. And he didn't overpunch. He didn't overexert himself. Round 2, I thought he was letting the fight slip away from him. I would have started getting worried in round 2. If you guys remember, Ciryl threw a beautiful spinning hook kick in round 2 that glanced off the shoulder of Ngannou and then hit him in the head. If that kick went straight to his head, it could have been something very serious. It could have buckled Ngannou. Ngannou got hit with a hook, which was more of a forearm to the back of the head, and kind of stumbled. You saw Ngannou stumble. I was getting a little bit worried for him. But still, Ngannou stayed calm and true to the game plan and kept pressuring him and pressuring him and pressuring him, even though he was losing the round. Round 3 was what really impressed me. Ngannou, when he caught that push kick, body slammed him, got him down to the ground, scored a takedown again afterwards. Round 4, again, more takedown pressure, double leg, body lock takedowns, riding, gut wrenching on the ground. He was doing some fantastic. He went into different dimensions. He said, look, I need to go into different elements of my game, which till this point we didn't know exist. Okay, yes, he has a Kimura win in his earlier fights in UFC, but nobody was thinking he was going to out wrestle and out grapple Gane like that. I was very surprised. Gane, and I know a lot of you guys say Gane or Gane. Again, my apologies. He went into different levels in his game. He dug deep. He brought out different dimensions of his game, surprised us, showed us. Not only does he know Kimura defense, not only does he know body locks and Kosoto Gakis and hip tosses, and he tried the Haragoshi, what they call the judo kick in America sometimes. Even though he didn't get gone fully on his back, he still he was attacking with wrestling, and he was fatiguing Gane or Gane. Amazing round 3, amazing round 4. Round 5, guys, round 5, was it more of Ciryl's mistake, or was Ngannou really, really smart? He kind of yielded the first 2 minutes, and then he worked really hard the last 3. If you're going to win half a round, guys, make sure it's the second half. I think Ciryl won the first half of the round, and Ngannou won the second half of the round. It was very close. In my mind, this fight was very, very close. I gave it to Ngannou, no doubt. I think Ngannou, he brought out different dimensions of his game. He surprised us all. He threw some beautiful strikes, but nothing to put the lights out. Okay, he threw some beautiful strikes. That striking pressure led to good takedowns. That striking pressure, guys, is very fatiguing. Cyril was constantly on high alert. And Ngannou was more composed and relaxed and scored those takedowns. I think Cyril was a little bit overwhelmed. Now, I'll tell you something. Cyril only has about, I think it's like 10 or 12 fights. He's got like 10 fights. He's going to get better. He missed the leg lock. In a year or two, he'll get those leg locks. He missed a couple of takedowns. In round one, he shot a good double leg. In the future, he'll be getting those double legs. He's still growing as a fighter. And Ngannou has matured and is still evolving, still growing as a fighter, yes. But he's kind of like, Cyril's kind of at the place where when Ngannou fought Miocic and lost the first time. When I saw that, I said, hey, Ngannou's going to be a world champion. It's a matter of time before he beats Miocic. I'm going to say something very similar. Not to the same degree. I still think Ngannou is more special. But Cyril will come back with a vengeance. He will be world champion again. Maybe he'll never beat Ngannou. But if Ngannou leaves UFC, Cyril, I think, will be world champion again. He's going to be a lot better. He's going to be arguably, if Ngannou leaves, he'll be arguably the most dominant heavyweight UFC champion ever. He's going to come back. He's going to have better striking, better wrestling, better wiser jiu-jitsu. Here's the thing, guys. Yes, he knows leg locks, but you have to have the wisdom of when to use them. That was the wrong time to go for a leg lock. If there was ever a wrong time, that was it. It might have a lot to do with his coach. His coach told him, hey, you're losing. Why else would Cyril go for the leg lock? He says, hey, if I stay on top of him and I win this round 10-9, I still lose. Think about it. My coach told me I'm losing. I need to finish this guy. Let me drop down and try to rip this heel apart. I think this could have been really just a misunderstanding between him and his coach. Either his coach misread the fight, or his coach tried to motivate him in the wrong way. Does anybody out there have an explanation for why such a seasoned, intelligent fighter would drop back for a leg lock? He must have thought that he needed a finish. That's my only explanation, because it was a really bad decision. Of course, not just in hindsight, guys. When it happened, even DC Daniel Cormier was like, "Hey man, that's a fight IQ issue. This is bad. This is a bad decision." I couldn't agree more. And I'm saying that as a leg locker. Okay, guys. With that said, I want to applaud both men. Ngannou had the performance of a lifetime. He showed us different elements and different dimensions to his game. Guys, I was so entertained. I'm so happy to see Ngannou perform that way. If he would have just scored a knockout, it would have been impressive, of course. But this, to me, is even more impressive, because now we have to the heavyweight division has to deal with Ngannou's wrestling capability, his ability to attack you on the ground. Incredible. Really incredible. In my opinion, he's the greatest heavyweight champion in UFC history. Guys, with that said, I'm going to open it up now. We're only talking about the fight. Please don't ask questions about anything else until we put this fight to bed, and then we can open it up on various topics. Okay, guys, I missed a super chat here somewhere. I know. I'm just going to scan. Francis should get paid. Get his contract changed. That's from Dangerously Dubious Double Davidson. Wow. My friend here really likes the letter D. I would love to see him get paid. I love to see all fighters get paid. I think the UFC and the fighters can have a harmony and everybody get paid. There's enough money for everybody. You don't need $100 quadrillion, okay? Pass around the wealth. Make these fighters like the NFL fighters, NFL athletes. Make them like the NBA athletes. Make them that prestigious. It will bring more eyes and admiration to the sport. The sport will grow. Coach, no offense, but your leg lock strategy was a horrible idea. Haha, that's from Alexander. Look, I said that that Ngannou is leg lockable. I stand by that. Of course he's leg lockable, especially after what I saw of the fight. Now, I didn't say that, hey, in the 5th round when it's 2-2, go for a leg lock. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about that if the fight ends up on the ground early in the fight when things are dry, and if the leg locker knows how to finish a leg lock, it's very doable. That's the type of... Look, for those of you who are leg lockers out there, you go back and watch Ngannou's leg lock defense. Are you going to say that that's perfect defense? That's a hard to leg lock guy? No. He's... let's call it an average level of leg lock defense. An average level. If you're an average level of leg lock defense, and I'm being generous here, okay? You're leg lockable. Okay, no, it was just a wrong time. Cyril was tired, sweaty. He didn't align it. He didn't execute the leg lock properly. Now, I'm not saying that Cyril is not a good leg locker. It's just that that's not his forte. Don't forget, he's a striker. He's an MMA fighter. He can't spend 8 hours a day focusing on leg locks. Okay, he has a leg lock game, and he can use it in harmony with the rest of his game. But it was a poor strategic mistake. It's not that that Ngannou is unleg lockable by far. That's a ridiculous statement. No leg locker will look at that and say, "Hey, that guy's very hard to leg lock." No. He's susceptible to leg locks. Have you seen anyone fight with a torn MCL? That's from Shantiman Jorzak. Well, you know what? It's funny because, yes, I have seen guys fight with a torn MCL. And I'll tell you something. Ngannou told me, I saw him the week before the fight. Okay, I saw him about 10 days out before his fight. And he told me his MCL was torn. Okay, I had a talk with him about it. But I didn't mention it in the pre-fight breakdown that I did because I thought it was sensitive information. I know they mentioned it during the fight and all that, but I don't want to bring it on the table because, you know, it can create some drama. I respect the man's career and his right to privacy. How much he wants to tell people about it, that's his business, okay? But a torn MCL can be very serious. That's about an 8-week recovery. Okay, it takes about 8 weeks to recover from a torn MCL. I've had it. I've torn my MCL. I think I've done it 3 times in my life. I just had it about 3 months ago. I torn my MCL. I don't wait 8 weeks. Okay, guys. Honestly, I trained like probably 10 days later. Okay, but still, I was training like flow training. Very chill drilling, doing my physio, and I'm not like in a real fight. To be in a real fight without doing the 8 weeks, very dangerous. Why? Because you could do something explosive, something risky, and tear your leg. Okay, you could just imagine like you have a tear that's healing in your knee. The other ligaments take on more of the responsibility to keep your knee together, and that little tear can turn into a freaky sound you don't want to hear, a popping sound you don't want to hear. That's excruciatingly scary. I've heard that sound. Believe me, it's not a beautiful thing to hear. And now you're regretting. Now you're regretting doing what you just did a second ago because you know it's really, really bad. You could tell the searing pain tells you that, hey, something is really, really bad with your knee. But listen, man, he had the heart, it took the chance, and he got the job done. That is something incredible. Now, let me tell you something. I was very worried that his knockout power might not be there because if he had a torn MCL, but I still said, you know what, I'm picking Ngannou, man. I trained at his gym. There's no way I'm picking against him. There's no way I'm picking against Eric Nixick and my good friend Dewey Cooper. Okay, I love these guys. These guys are great guys. I'll never pick against them. But I legitimately do believe that Ngannou's going to win. However, the MCL tear can take away your pop and your punches. Absolutely. Ngannou didn't throw as much. Did you guys notice? First of all, he's wearing 2 knee braces. What you guys call them in America? I call them knee brace. But those knee sleeves, okay? Knee sleeves. He's wearing 2 of them. Are his knees have they seen better days? Are his knees like really in trouble? I don't know. Okay. But he didn't throw as much. He wasn't pivoting as much. He wasn't, his legs looked a little stiff. Now, if you have a torn MCL, you know why. Because you feel if you pivot, man, you might tear something. It's in your head. You don't want to be explosive. Is that why he wrestled? Is that why he was slow in round 1? Is that why round 2 got away from him? I think it has a lot to do with it. Yeah, he didn't trust his knee. He was still warming up. He was putting pressure on, and he's like, hey, you know what? I'm falling behind now. Let's start fighting. And when he started fighting, he started dominating. And it just shows that Ngannou is just more seasoned. He's just more seasoned. That's all it is. I think if he takes the time, heals his punching power and his precise punching and his timing will be showcased again. Why did he barely do any kicks to the knee? That's from Comics Entertainment. Well, Cyril's corner was telling him in French, kick the legs. And I think it makes total sense. Cyril was changing stances, kicking the leg, and then changing stances again. He was going from righty to lefty. I think he had a very good strategy. Should he have oblique kicked more? Should he have side kicked the knee more? I think yes. I think if you fight a big man like that, you should definitely take out his knees. The way Ngannou reacts to the knee kicks, I think could have been problematic for Ngannou. But you're right. He didn't kick it enough. In my opinion, he did not kick it enough, even though I'm overall very happy with Cyril's striking. I thought he did a very good job overall. He had a very tall task in front of him. He had a killer puncher in front of him. Very risky stuff going on here. He landed some good push kicks, some good leg kicks, good spinning heel kick that almost connected completely. It just glanced off Ngannou's shoulder. It was a very good setup. He landed 2 back kicks. One of them, there was just kind of, I shouldn't say he landed, it glanced off, but one of them connected very nicely. I think it was in round 3, I believe. But he landed a nice back kick that I think he should have went back to. Cyril, in my opinion, lost the match with poor strategy. And remember, I was telling you guys, like, I don't think he's going to come with the best strategy. There's going to be an error in strategy. I was likening it to Ali versus Foreman, and I said, look, Foreman in this case is Ngannou. He's going to pressure. He's going to walk forward. He's going to cut off the ring. He's going to keep a constant pressure. And boom, I was expecting a knockout. Okay, now there was no knockout. There was more wrestling, which was surprising, I think, to everybody, including myself. Okay, Ngannou showed us different dimensions to his game, and this is why I like the fight even more. This is why I think Ngannou impressed me even more. I couldn't walk upstairs with my torn MCL. That's from Alex. Well, you know, every injury is different, okay? When I tore my MCL, I could move around. I can go up and down stairs, but I've seen guys tear their MCL and not be able to go up and down stairs very easily. Like their knee gets very, very stiff. I'm really getting good at physio, guys. You know, I'm always talking about the books. I'm not gonna talk about it again, but I'm really good at self-physio because I've been studying it and following Kelly Start for years. I'm kind of I'm getting much better at taking care of my body. So with all that combined, I really get it back on the mats really quickly now when I hurt myself a little. Conor beat Khabib with a torn ACL. That's from Lumi. Lumi, I think, is just doing a little trolling here. Coach, how come Gane had no grappling ability like most kickboxers? Haha, that's from Lumi. Lumi, no, he did show. You know what? Here's the thing with Cyril. He tried a Kimura. He tried a leg lock. He tried, he tried a double leg. He's just like, he's in that zone. You know, when you teach, I've been training people for a long time, okay? When you teach somebody armbar, let's say, he's not an armbar guy, but you teach him armbar, he goes through this awkward period where he's trying armbars and failing them. You taught it to him properly. He's going to fail it 20, 30 times, 50 times, and then all of a sudden he starts catching them, and then after a year, he's just armbarring everybody. There's a grace period where you know the steps to do armbar, but you don't know the minutia. You don't know the little adjustments that are very hard to teach. They're done live. They're improvisation that comes with executing a move. And that's what happened with Cyril. He's in that place where he knows leg locks, but he doesn't know them well enough. He knows Kimura, but he doesn't know well enough. Like, he's going to get there. There's a period of time where it's normal to make these kind of mistakes. Everybody goes through it. But wait, if he doesn't give up and he continues on this path, there's going to be a time where you grab his leg and he kimuras you and he breaks your arm. There's going to be a time where he grabs that leg and he breaks that leg. Like, he will evolve to that level. He will. He's just in that awkward stage where he's trying to learn so much. And he's thrusted in a world title fight against arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time. And he only has 10 or 11 fights. So that's a lot to learn in a short period of time. Gane's mistake, or Cyril's mistake, in my opinion, was he shouldn't have went for that leg lock. I think his coach had it wasn't the right advice, in my opinion. And I hate to say that because I think Hello? Okay, sorry guys, I just accidentally pushed the wrong button. I think his coach might have made a mistake. I do think his coach is a great trainer. Okay, his coach is a brilliant man. He does fantastic work. But look, we have to call an error. When there's an error, we have to call it. I've made errors in the past. There's no doubt I will make errors again in the future. There's no doubt about that. Okay, but his coach should, in my opinion, should not have told him, you're losing. He should have told him, look, it's 2-2. Pick and poke, stick and move, land a big shot, back him up, get him close to the fence, back Ngannou up. Stick and move, but you got to hurt him. Like, if you saw Cyril had a good strategy on the feet. He was kind of circling, sticking and moving, circling. And then at one point he would come in with this powerful overhand right. It missed, but that was the right strategy. That's the way I think you should trade with an Ngannou. Stick and move, circle, circle. Make him walk towards you. And as he's walking towards you, change direction with a heater. You know, something powerful. Make him walk into a powerful shot. And that's how you can knock a big man down. If you try to go into a trench war with him, in my opinion, it's a matter of time before you get knocked out. So he had a good strategy. I think he dropped back for that leg lock because he thought, hey, if I stay on top of him, I'm going to lose. What can I do to finish this fight? And in his mind, popped the leg lock. You know, in his mind, he said, I have to finish him. And it was a wrong strategy. If he stayed on top of Ngannou, he won 1, 2, and 5. He would have won 1, 2, and 5. You know, after the fight, guys, Cyril turned to the camera and said, Je suis désolé. Désolé. Like, I'm sorry. He's basically apologizing the way that's something in French you would say after losing a fight. You know, like I didn't get it done. I apologize. In his mind, he was thinking like he lost. I thought the round 5 was still close. But if you slump over like that, you don't put your hands up. If your coach doesn't run in and pick you up, like look in Ngannou's corner, they're picking him up. They're celebrating. We won. I mean, both corners should have been doing that. The fight was that close. The fight was, in my opinion, was that close. You can make an argument that Cyril won that fight. I wouldn't. But that fight could be interpreted in a different way as well. Gane's mistake, although Francis executed a solid fundamental scissor sweep. That's from XWT. No, I don't see. No, there was no scissor sweep. No, I don't think it was a scissor sweep at all. I'd have to watch it again, but I don't think there was any scissor sweeping at all. Coach, you agree to be the champ, you have to beat the champ in decisions. That's from Sir Nosi. So there's this old saying: if a fight's really close, the champ goes away with the title. If you want to beat the champ, if you want to be the champ, you gotta beat him. You gotta beat him convincingly. I don't agree with that. I think it should be like every other fight. Just score it like every other fight. Whatever the score is, that's what it is. Read it out loud. He doesn't have to do something extra convincing to get the title. If it is the case, write it down in the rule book. Write it down that, hey, there's a special way we're scoring this fight, because it's just pop culture. It's not actually written in the rule book. Now, should we write it in the rule book? That's something else. That's another debate. I don't think so. I think we should just score it. It's a fair fight. You're the champ. Yes, but that has nothing to do with when we lock the door. You're just another guy now. You're both challengers. That title is now up for grabs. That's how I see it. He was swept and countered with a heel hook. I love that you guys are on this now. All right, I'm going to go rewatch this now. Hold on a second here. I could be wrong, guys. You know, I could be wrong. I have no problem with that. But let me go see this here. Let me go watch it live. Okay, let's see here. And Ngannou. All right. I'm going to skip straight to the leg lock, gentlemen. Okay? Let's skip straight to the leg lock. Okay, here it is. Will not be long. I'm going to watch this live here. And if it's a scissor sweep, I will be amazed. Okay. Let's see here. Come on. Show me that scissor sweep. Gunn gets the crackdown. Okay, he's half guard on top. This is like a highlight video on YouTube. Let's see. I hope they show the leg lock here. Oh, no, they don't show the leg lock. Okay, I got it on this other video here. Let's see here. All right, I'm pulling up the video, guys. You guys made me pull up the video. If there's a scissor sweep, I'll be amazed. I'll be more than amazed, guys. I'll be shocked if there's a scissor sweep. If there's a scissor sweep, it's going to blow my mind. No. Round 5. Come on, man. Round 5. Come on, leg lock. I don't want to have to go on a... The highlights are on. Damn it. I'm going to find it here. If it's a scissor sweep, guys, that's going to blow my mind. You know why? Not that he can't do a scissor sweep, that I missed it. That I actually didn't notice it was a scissor sweep. That's going to blow my mind. Okay, I got it right here. All right, let's go. I got a full. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. We are. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, Cyril is on top. Oh no, hold on. Okay, Cyril is on top. Guys, if there is a scissor sweep by Ngannou, it's gonna blow my mind that I didn't notice this. Okay, now I'm watching it real time here. Okay, so Cyril's about to drop for that leg lock. It's round 5. Okay, here it is. That's no scissor sweep. That is not. I'm gonna watch it again. That is not a scissor sweep. Stop it, please. Stop it, guys. Please. This is a man dropping back for a leg lock. Come on. Look, he's reaching back for the leg. He's coming up to come. You know what? Oh my God. Francis did sweep his right leg down across. Okay, hold on. Let's watch this again. No, man. He was going for a leg lock. No, he was totally going. Listen. He was going for the leg lock. He dropped back. When Ngannou swept his leg, he didn't fall. He could have just literally, Cyril could have went to half guard. All he had to do was just slide his knee over and get to half guard. He dropped back voluntarily. Guys, I'm watching it again. This is the 4th time I'm watching it. No, he dropped back. Cyril dropped back. Cyril dropped back. Big mistake. Big mistake. No. Cyril was grabbing the leg, coming into combat base, and Ngannou was just like basically helping him get into the leg lock. Okay, because I think Ngannou wanted him to go for it. Okay, guys, we have a super chat here. Let's see. Coach, I wouldn't mind this as a serious post-fight companion where you point out mistakes. Well, I do post-fight analyses. I'm supposed to be doing them regularly. I'm trying to get back on schedule here, but I do pre-fight and post-fight quite often. All right, where are we at now? Where are we at? 37 minutes, guys. Scissor sweep, scissor sweep. Guys, it was not a scissor sweep. Oh, man, it was not a scissor sweep. Thank you, guys. I will try to. I will probably be doing fight companion, guys. I have a new website coming out very shortly. There's going to be all sorts of training online coming on. I don't want to say too much, but I'm going to be releasing it in February. The first people to get in are going to have a very, very special deal, and then after that, it's going to be made totally public and marketed. You guys are going to be able to train from anywhere in the world with me on a regular basis, but I don't want to say too much. I'm already getting a lot of emails. Don't bother emailing me just yet. It's not out till mid-February. Mid-February, it will be out, my friends. Okay? What's next for Ngannou? Well, I don't know. I hope he fights in UFC, but I'd love to see him also do a boxing fight. You know, if he were to fight Fury, I think it would be a very tough fight for him, guys. A very, very tough fight. But he would make a payday. I think that would set him for life. So I think that's, I think from what I understand, he's free. He's a free agent. If that's the truth, guys, if he truly is a free agent, wow, he can have a boxing mega fight. Should Gane leave France to improve on grappling? That's from Hirsch. Well, he should probably travel a little bit because I'm not sure what the grappling is like in France, but there's definitely a lot of hot spots around the world for grappling. Coach, how do you think John Jones would fare against these two top heavyweights? You know what, guys? I'll tell you something. I think John can do very, very well, very, very well. He's got the reach to fight at heavyweight, and he's got a takedown ability that can be very, very surprising, very surprising. And he's been working on his jiu-jitsu the last few years. This could be a very, very big opportunity for John Jones to cement himself. But again, I don't like to talk too much about John Jones these days. I try to avoid the topic. And man, what would it mean if you were to become heavyweight world champion? I mean, that would be that could be kind of weird. But listen, I think he could do very well. Do I think he would win hands down? No. It will be tough. It will be a very big challenge. against either one of those two, Gane or Ngannou. But John he would be a serious challenge for those two because of his agility, his reach, his ability to wrestle. John is much more seasoned in the wrestling department, much more than these guys. However, they're bigger and stronger. So there's a give and take. But I'll tell you something, do not underestimate John's ability to wrestle compared to these guys. Okay. Well, compared to anyone, but believe me, I could tell you that John has been wrestling since he could walk. Okay, so he can definitely score takedowns, especially on these guys because they're going to be a bit slower than John. You know, they're not going to have the same agility as some of the light heavyweights. Coach, do you think an injury-free Ngannou beats Gane by KO in the rematch? How much do you think his injury affected his striking? That's from Brigas. Listen, I thought watching Ngannou, I thought it really affected his striking because he didn't throw what he normally throws. Now, was that because Cyril was moving more than anybody he's ever fought? Possibly, but I don't think so. I think that he moved gingerly on that leg. You know, like he wasn't pivoting, he wasn't exploding, he wasn't hopping up and down. Like he wasn't as lively on his legs, and that has a lot to do with MCL tears, guys. If you've never torn your MCL, you might not know, but everybody out there who's had a serious MCL injury, you know, it's not to be taken lightly. It's not. You know, you don't have the same confidence in your knees. Like if you make one wrong move and your knee collapses. If your knee collapses, well, good luck. You're pretty much done. Okay, so I think it had a major influence on the fight. Major. Think about it. He couldn't spar before his fight. Like, you don't know where your knee is. You know, you're doing bike, you're doing physiotherapy, you're doing your conditioning stuff, but you're not fighting, you're not wrestling, you're not going live. In your mind, you're like, oh, I'm hoping my knee's going to be okay, but you haven't tested it out. You haven't, like, you know, done anything crazy, because if you do, you might not be, you might be even more injured for your fight. So on fight day, you're like, hey, I gotta see, how much do I believe my knee has healed? How much confidence do I have in my knee? You got to figure that out during the fight. And you could tell that he was kind of, round one, he wasn't doing much. He was kind of figuring that out. At least that's what I felt it was, you know, because Ngannou is very precise. He has great timing. He has very good shot selection, and he didn't show that too much in round one. You know, even though he was moving forward and trying to push the action, I think a rematch will be very interesting. The flip side to that is I think Cyril is going to improve vastly from now to their next fight because he's so young in the game. Coach, is Miocic gone forever? That's from Dude. No, I don't think so. I think he'll be back. He has to come back. I mean, he's one of the great all-time heavyweights. And, you know, I would love to see him versus Cyril. I would love to see that. And the winner should get Ngannou. This is Dave Paki saying, watch the sweep in slow motion. He was swept, sir. Listen, there was a sweep attempted, but I don't think that's what caused Cyril to go over. Cyril could have just established half guard, because you notice when the sweep goes, it doesn't brush both legs. He's still on top. All you have to do was all Cyril had to do was put his left leg on the ground. He didn't. He dropped to his back. He voluntarily dropped to his back. At least that's how I saw it. What did you think about Gane's body kicks? That's from Tom Boland. What do you think about Gane's body kicks? The body kicks, I think the kicks in general were good. I would have liked to see more. I would like to see him go back to the spinning back kick. I think that's something that could have really troubled Ngannou. His overall kicking, was good. His body kicking was also good. Yeah, he did some nice teeps, but one of those teeps really got him in trouble. In round 3, he threw a teep that kind of glanced off the body of Ngannou. Ngannou caught it and got that first big slamming takedown. He body slammed Cyril, which got the ball rolling in Ngannou's favor. Coach, you sleep late. That's from Matthew. Yes, actually, it is getting late, guys. I'm going to be wrapping this up very shortly. But I wanted to make sure that I start doing my podcast more regularly. And I'm going to start doing it at the times I can. And sometimes I got to do it late. What else we got here? Do you think Gane was just not a strong wrestler to mitigate Ngannou's takedowns, or was the poor wrestling just a result of bad planning? That's from IZ Blind. Look, I'll tell you something. I bet you Cyril didn't do too much defensive wrestling and he didn't do too much bottom game. Why? He's probably said, look, Ngannou never shoots for takedown and he's not known for his grappling. I'm going to do a bunch of striking and a bunch of offensive wrestling, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And I've seen fighters make this mistake. I always ask guys, like, if you go up against the biggest striker, I still want you to wrestle in camp. I still want you to do jiu-jitsu. I don't care what you think is going to happen in the fight. I always tell guys, let's prepare for everything. And, of course, we want to, if we're fighting, let's say I was fighting an Ngannou, I would put a premium on taking him down. I would put a premium on offensive wrestling, but I would also want guys to try to take me down. Why? Because whatever you don't prepare for, that's what can surprise you. I don't think he was ready to play bottom game. You know, he didn't, he looked like he got a bit tired with the wrestling. So maybe he didn't wrestle as much as he should have. But then again, you know, it's very difficult to plan these things ahead of time. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the fight. Fights are unpredictable. You know, people always tell me, Coach, you didn't predict the fight. Nobody predicts fights. Guys, nobody predicts fights. We just speculate. We're just speculating. Anything. The fight could have ended in knockout. The fight could have ended in submission. The fight could have ended by decision, which it did. The fight could have ended in split decision. The fight could have ended in unanimous. Like, the fight can go so many ways. Just because Ngannou's a knockout artist doesn't mean he doesn't know how to elbow somebody and knee him in the face and then choke him with a guillotine. That's also very possible. That scenario is also very possible. You know, striking leading into a submission win. These things, you know, he does have a submission win. And I think he has 2 in his career and 1 in UFC. Fights are unpredictable. If you put Cyril and Ngannou together again next week, literally next week, the fight can have a totally different outcome. The same 2 guys. They're just making different decisions out there with the same tools. At the end of the day, we can't predict how they're going to decide to execute the existing tools that they have. All we're doing is speculating, and speculating is fun. That's why we have these channels, these type of channels. Where does Kevin Lee fit into all this? That's from Jung. Well, he's fighting in the spring, and he's fighting Diego Sanchez, I believe. So he's hard in training. Coach, my inadequacy. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, this is from Thor. This is a non-related subject. We've done 47 minutes on the Ngannou fight. I usually do 35 minutes. So I will take questions now on absolutely everything else. Okay. Coach, my inadequacy, excuse me. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time pronouncing that word. In all aspects of life, consistently cause me distress. I have started to read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Any advice? That's from Thor's. I would love to know what age you are. That's not a very uncommon feeling. Many people feel that way. Listen, I love to be prepared. Prepare yourself for when an opportunity comes knocking. You have exploited all the potential you possibly have to be prepared. Be prepared. I've seen guys be prepared. I've seen guys who are always working on themselves and not have success, and constantly be trying to perfect themselves. And then one day opportunity comes knocking and now they're soaring with the eagles. I've seen that. I've seen guys have trouble. And then one day, boom, the goose is laying golden eggs. So don't give up. Keep trying to perfect yourself. Keep trying to make yourself better every day. Improve yourself, and wait for that opportunity. And when that opportunity comes, you're going to bank in big. Okay, and that book, 7 Habits, is an incredibly important book. Make sure you read that thoroughly, reread it, think about it, meditate on it, teach it to other people, and try to figure out which habit you're lacking in. Hey, Coach, what do you think of wrestling knee pads during BJJ? Good preventative measure. Wrestlers always wear them while training. So that's from Verico. Look, I would wear knee pads when my knees are hurting. If my knee is hurting, I wear knee pads. When my knees are not hurting, I don't wear knee pads. I'll tell you why. That support you're getting from the knee pad is kind of a crutch, so to speak. It's weakening your stabilizers. It's supporting your leg unnecessarily. What happens one day when you forget your knee pad or you're in an altercation and you have to work without your knee pad? I don't like weakness in the body. Okay, I have a system for training my knees. I train my knees very, very religiously. Just today, George St. Pierre walks into the gym, And he's like, he was texting me about knees over toes guy. I got to work with him. He's really good in certain areas. And he was like, I know how you feel about it. And I'm not a big knees over toes guy. Okay, I'm not trying to knock on the knees over toes guy. I know he recently was on Rogan. I don't think you should put your knees over toes. That's just my opinion as a trainer. I'm okay with a difference of opinion. I believe your knee, when you go knees over toes, it should be for mobility exercises with minimal weight, never for high. What I mean when I say don't go knees over toes, what I mean by that is never with a load and never in high reps. You could do a yoga move that brings your knees over toes. Like, we're not that fragile. Okay, I'm not saying don't do some mobility work that brings your knee over your toes. What I'm saying is don't do it for high volume and don't do it ever under load. Now, George St. Pierre, we're texting back and forth, talking about his knees, making sure his knees don't go out of whack, of course, very important. And he was telling me, look, I work with knees over toes. What do you think? And I was like, look, in my opinion, it's speculative. There's no proof. It's just a guy trying to figure out his way. And of course, he's always referencing Charles Poliquin. I've looked into his stuff. Actually, I was watching a video today of a chiropractic, a surgeon going over, orthopedic surgeon going over his materials. And there was some hot and cold. Some things he was saying, this makes sense. This is not proven. This we don't know. This is okay. This is, he's using his own anecdotal evidence, and it's experimental. Now, when it comes to George St. Pierre's knees, do I want to experiment with George St. Pierre's knees? No. But George is a very open-minded spirit. God bless him. He's a very sweet guy, very open-minded spirit. He loves to see the positive in things, and he's like, Coach, what do you think? I'm gonna do it, but with no load. I said, come with me, walk with me. He was we're today in the practice room together. I said, come with me, walk with me. I said, I want you to drill leg locks with Sean. And I was like, Sean, hey, drill with. I'm like, no, we can't, because this young man of mine, this young, very good prodigy, this is a very good, a very good prospect in jiu-jitsu, very, very good prospect in jiu-jitsu, has been out for, I would say, like, it's been 6-7 months now with a horrific knee injury. And it came after 2 months of doing, let's call it 6 weeks of doing knees over toes. Okay, I think it's maybe like 5-6 weeks. Okay, about. And he had told me he was starting that program prior. And I said, look, I'm not doing knees over toes. But again, guys, in the spirit of being open-minded, I told him, do the program. If you want to experiment, do the program. And then let me know how your results go. Now, and I did a whole video on it on this channel, okay? Type in knees, Zahabi, TriStar, you'll find it. I'm not telling you guys that I know that knees over toes system inside out. And I'm not telling you that I know it inside out and that it doesn't work. I don't know that. I don't know that for a fact. I've never done the man's program. I would like to have him on my show. If he wants to come on my show and have a talk, I will talk about my experiences, excuse me, guys, with knees. I'll talk to him about it. I'll openly talk to him about it. And I'll tell him I'll tell him everything I'm saying right now. Let him cross-examine my claims. Please do. But this young student of mine, I was telling George, look, this guy, he did it for 6 weeks. He injured his knee. He has a horrific knee injury. I've brought him to several experts. We cannot figure out. Nobody can figure out how to fix this young man's knees. He was on crutches for 8 weeks. Now it's 6 months later. He still can't really move that well. We're still working with him. We're still getting him an next MRI. Now with the dye, we're taking things to another level. The experts are looking at his knee. They can't figure out what happened to this man's knee. And he's not a guy who had chronic knee pain in the past. No, not at all. Not at all. Now, I imagine there are a lot of people out there that are doing the knees over toes program and are raving about it. I'm pretty sure. Here's my question to you all. Is that going to be the case 10 years from now? Because you could smoke for 6 months and rave. Oh, smoking, when smoking was getting popular, doctors were recommending smoking. Oh, yeah, it has all these benefits. Cocaine was recommended by doctors. There was cocaine and there's all these benefits. Yeah. You know what? They figured out later on, there's also a lot of negatives that come with doing cocaine. There's a lot of negatives, but we figured that out years down the line. When Hitler was giving his soldiers methamphetamine, they thought, look at all these benefits. They can march through the night. They can kill without they can kill like savage animals and never even they were so high they wouldn't get somebody's head blown up. It didn't deter them in the least. Look at all these benefits methamphetamines meth gives us. Yeah, but there was also a serious amount of negative negative aspects to taking methamphetamine. They came down the line years later, including to Hitler himself, made him psychotic and made him crazy. He might have been crazier before, but he definitely was crazier and crazier as his career went on and to last days. He was taking injections of methamphetamines. There are documentaries that show you exactly how the man went berserk, and he was also on high levels of meth. Now, his doctors thought it was good for him. They thought, oh, look at all these benefits. Look at all these benefits, guys. Look at all. Okay, here's what I want to ask you all. Is this program going to be here 10 years from now? Or is there going to be a graveyard of bodies? I don't know. But I'm not going to use my niece to find out. That's my position, guys. So please don't tell me that I'm being closed-minded. I haven't tried the program. Guys, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's experimental. I don't know. I really don't know. Now, I'm really not going to use my professional athletes to figure it out. I'm not. I refuse to. I think it's too much. If guys out there want to try it, go ahead. It's your business, your needs. I don't recommend it. So that's my opinion on that. Now, yeah, that was about knee pads, guys. So next super chat here. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and to this great analysis. Thank you very much. That's from Jonathan. Jonathan, you're a gentleman and a scholar. I appreciate you very much, my friend. Gracias. Thank you. Hassan says, Coach, white belt sparring with blue belts. I get choked or overextend my arms. Continue trying my defense against blue? ? Suggestions for improvement. That's from Hassan. Hassan, let me tell you something. Every time you see a blue belt or every time you see a black belt or a brown belt or a purple belt, tell yourself those guys were once upon a time white belts. They used to suck, me included, GSP included, every grappler you've ever met included, John Danaher included, every guy, Gordon Ryan included, every single grappling superstar, black belt expert, world champion boxer. There was a time Muhammad Ali went into a boxing gym and he didn't know how to punch and move well. He was really a beginner. We all start as beginners. Don't lose faith. Don't overthink it. You're overthinking it. You're asking me here, should I keep trying my defense against blue belts? Of course you should keep trying your defense against blue belts. How dare you question that? You never give up. Never. You try your offense, you try your defense. We go back to the drawing board. Whether you get the submission or not, you go back to the drawing board and you perfect yourself. You keep that martial arts spirit alive for the rest of your life. Every day is about perfecting yourself. You cannot control the world around you. All you can do is perfect yourself on a daily basis. Not always easy, my friend. Not always easy to do. But don't you dare ever let doubt creep into your mind. Okay, so with that, I encourage you, keep it up, and it's not a big deal. Okay, white belt will be a thing of the past. You have to train hard for 5 years to become really, really hard for 5 years to become a good purple belt. And then you start to understand what training is at that level. Blue belts and white belts, no offense to you all, much respect and love to all my friends out there who are white belts and blue belts, but you have not yet understood what training is about, what jiu-jitsu is about. Only at purple belt level can you start to have an idea of what jiu-jitsu is about. Coach, how can I be a black belt doing jiu-jitsu, black belt in jiu-jitsu without doing jiu-jitsu? That's from Joseph the Wise. I will call him Joseph the Wise. Become an actor, my friend. Become an actor and play a role of a jiu-jitsu champion who got his black belt. And that's how you can do it. Coach, this is MMA, AMA, Ask Me Anything 99. No, it's actually 98. Anything special for AMA 100 in the works? He's asking me. That's from Trent Pod. Guys, put in a suggestion in below this video. What do you guys want me to do for Ask Me Anything 100? I was thinking, should I have a special guest? Anybody you guys want me to reach out to? Or should I do like a 3-hour extravaganza 100th episode? I don't know, guys. Really, it's in your hands. Put suggestions. I will read every single comment on this video. That's a promise I'm making to you guys. I'm making a mnemonic right now, guys. I promise you I will read every single comment on this video, on this one video, talking about Ask Me Anything 100. What should we do? I would love to do something special. Coach, you missed my super chat. Oh boy. Coach, you missed my super. That's from Mahad. Mahad, the super chat from Mahad. You had a fighter in Bellator that walked out to La Box. Life is life. I thought that was hilarious. Please tell him I said hi. That's from Dave. I have no idea what Labak Life is Life is, but I'm curious. Let me look that up. Labak Life is Life. My goodness. The crazy things you guys ask me to check. Life is life. What are we talking about here? What the hell is this? Is it like a I've done so many walkouts in my career. I have no idea. Like, I can't recognize it by the song. Hold on. Maybe this will ring a bell. Oh, my God. Did we really walk out to this? Oh, my God. That must have been Rat Garbage, Mandel Nello. It must have been. I have to rewatch his last fight. He's the only one who will do something crazy like this. You know what? Sometimes when we walk out, I don't even listen to the music. I don't even listen to it. I'm so like hyped up about the fight. I'm not even hearing. Oh my God, but that is hilarious. Okay, Mahad, I found you here. Coach, how do you get over rejection from the girl you love? Well, Mahad, obviously that's never happened to me, so I can't relate. Sorry, my friend. No, but jokes aside, that's a tough one, Mahad. This isn't Ask Me Anything, so I do want to entertain your question. Now, you see, how can I say? I come from an Arabic culture, which a lot of you in the West would probably consider as toxic masculinity. So for us, like, if you love a girl, yes, there's a lot of love in Arabic culture, romance and all that, but we also have this other side to us that don't make her. You see. I studied Plato for many years. Okay, you guys know I studied Plato for 20 years and heavily. The whole soulmate thing comes from the book Symposium. You know, they're making up myths. They're sitting around a table drinking, the Greeks, and they're saying this is like a play that, not a play. It's a philosophy book, but it's a dialogue, and through the conversation between these Greeks, you start having all these philosophical arguments and points being made, logical points being made. And they're saying, look, if I was creating a myth to, propagate the idea of love, I would say that, Zeus was looking at human beings. We used to be actually, we used to have 8 limbs, 4 arms, 2 legs, 2 heads, 2 hearts. Take a human being and double him. But Zeus looked at them and he said, they're too powerful. Let me cut them in half. So then you're always looking for your soulmate, that one person you were in the other life disconnected from. And now you're in this world and you're trying to find that soulmate. That's where the term soulmate comes from. And Plato kind of romanticized love like that there's this one person for you out there. You meet this girl, she's your soulmate. You're telling yourself now she's your soulmate, and she's so scarce. There's only one like her in the whole of existence. And then one day she leaves you for whatever reason, and your mind is like, oh my God, the one, my other half is gone. She's for some reason rejecting me. See, Arabs have a whole different outlook. We don't have this crippling idea in our minds. For us, it didn't work out with her. It's going to work out with another one. Now, we're not that crude. We're not that crass. We're not that dismissive, I would say. Some are not. But we definitely don't come from a tradition where, because this is highly, if you hear this talk in the West all the time, my soulmate. We don't have this idea. Maybe a little bit now because the Arabs are more and more influenced by the West, and vice versa. But we don't have this romantic And of course, you guys can always point to special circumstances. But by and large, in general, we don't have this idea. Our women are, they're our wives. Yes, they're the mothers of our children. We love them. We respect them. We treat them good. However, we don't have this scarcity mentality. We don't have this mentality of scarcity. Like, for instance, if you look at our forefathers, they were all polygamist. Even the Jews were polygamist, heavily polygamist. If you read in the Bible, there's nowhere in the Bible, because don't forget, the West is a byproduct of Greek thinking, Roman thinking, and the Bible. You know, it's all heavily influenced the West. The Greeks, I'm not even gonna get into Greek sexuality, not right now. But the Jews had polygamy. There was nowhere in the Jewish Bible that says you only marry one woman. That came way later. That later on was a fatwa from a rabbi, like a ruling from a rabbi. Later on, much later on, we're talking about like, I think it was like the 1900s, 1900s, probably like 1920, like very, very recently, guys. It wasn't like 1,000 years ago. No. The Jews could marry multiple women. Our forefathers are polygamists, guys. On my mother's side, my grandfather is polygamist. On my father's side, my great grandfather was polygamist, and his father, and his father, and his father, and we're all the way up. We had multiple wives. So this idea of soulmate doesn't exist for us. Like, I'm sadly in Canada, I can't have a second, third, fourth wife, because here we don't really have open-minded. It's just so taboo. But this is all very new, guys. This is all I don't know who came up with this crazy idea. Like, I've tried to look it up once upon a time. I was curious. I couldn't find a definite answer. But somewhere along the line, somebody said, hey, you should only marry one woman. Now, there are many countries. There are many, many countries where women outnumber men. There are many countries. So polygamy makes sense. There are some places in the world, like in Africa, where even the church allows men to marry multiple women. It does exist. It has existed in the past because there was so many more women. Now, by and large, if you look at the world as a whole, there are slightly more men now. It's not always been the case than women. But still, there's about 50% of the countries, about 100 countries in the world where there are more women than men. So what do you do with these extra women? Well, in our world, they find the husband, and the husband has 2 wives. Not a big deal. But that mentality keeps us away from this, the girl that I ever loved rejected me, and how do I get over her? Well, you just marry another girl. You just find another girl. It's really that simple. Don't live with this type of scarcity in your mind. This is all very, very new. It's all very, very new. Even though it dates back to Plato, even the Greeks didn't think that way, because the Greeks that's a different topic, but they weren't as interested in women. Let's just call it that. Okay, they didn't forget having 2 wives. Having one wife was already not super cool. Okay, they had this weird idea that you'd want to have sex with what is superior. Men are superior than women. So why would you want to have sex with women when men are superior? So take a young boy and have your way with him. This is where their mentality was. They weren't thinking. Their brains weren't working as, hey, let me have multiple wives. It's very true for the Romans before Christianity. It's very similar. Okay, very similar. The wife wasn't for sex and pleasure. No. A wife was for making babies. That sex and pleasure, that was something else. I had another outlet for that. Romans had another outlet. They had their mind in a different place. But in the West, they have this idea of soulmate. This one girl carries my fate. If she loves me, I'll be happy. If she doesn't love me, I'll be miserable. Please get away from this. This is such. And I think, you know what? You see incredible fighters locked in this mentality ruin their careers. I've seen women ruin fighters' careers too many times. It's sad. Now as I get older, I understand why John, after training, would talk to us about why we should never get married. He would list reasons. He would give us like 3 reasons, and he would drill in our mind why you should never get married. Now, I got married, and he didn't object to it, and he was happy for me because he saw my relationship with my wife, and he was like, this kind of relationship I approve of. I know a lot of you be like, hey, coach, he's your grappling coach. What is he doing with your personal life? Me and him are also super close friends. Okay, so I didn't object to him giving me advice. Actually, I appreciate it very much. I spent a lot of time with John outside of training as well. We went to dinners together all the time, eating, hanging out, talking. Me, him, and George were often together outside of the practice room. So we'd finish training, we'd go eat, and we'd hang out as friends. So But there were many times where he would lecture us, not to let women get in the way of our careers. And I think he was very correct about that, because as I've been coaching now so many athletes the last 10 years, I could tell you that so many times they get derailed by a woman. It's unbelievable, man. A guy with such incredible talent, and even the average guy who's just training, forget the MMA guy for a second. Forget the superstar MMA guy. Take the average Joe. Average Joe walks in the gym. He's training. He's building confidence. He's taking care of his body. He's getting in shape. All of a sudden, he meets some girl. She really likes him. Oh, why? Because he's in shape and he can wrestle and he has this confidence. He can defend. He's doing MMA. That's pretty cool. And he gets comfortable. He stops coming to the gym. His time is now abundant. And what happens when your time is abundant? What young men don't understand is the girl might desire you less, because now you're always around, and you're not as in shape as you used to be, and you're not as confident as you used to be, because you're not cultivating. You're not working on yourself on a regular basis, and she dumps you. And I know when this happens, because they come to my gym again, 10 pounds, 20 pounds overweight, with this kind of sad look on their face. Even though when they say hi to me, they give me a hug and a handshake. Coach, good to see you again. I could still see that he's got that broken heart syndrome, and it happens to many young men. And I'm like, oh, I could always guess. I could always sense it on them, because I've seen it so many times. But at the end of the day, I think men in the West, I think they've lost control a little bit in the dynamic of men and women. Like men, guys, I'm going to give you some big brotherly advice here. Okay. And do with it as you will. Okay. Do with it as you will. Men and women, you never want, if this is men, you never want your woman like here, so to say. You never want her. You want her not. You don't want her here. You don't want her down here. You don't want to be up there and she's down here. No. You want to be just like this, just a degree. You know why? Because women are attracted to men they look up to. Hard fact, guys. Disagree with me as much as you want. No problem. Go out in the world and you prove me wrong, because I don't think you can. A woman, once she sees a man, once she sees herself as smarter, more capable, more responsible than you, more something than you, whatever, and she beats you in every department. If she thinks she's even physically superior, imagine a woman who thinks she can outdo you physically, even meaning she can outrun you, out wrestle you. Imagine that. You're finished, man. You're finished. You are finished. You're dead. That woman will never be attracted to you. Now, if a woman sees you as wise, confident, and like she sees you as brave, resilient, all the virtues, honest, she could learn from you, she could mold, she could use you as a role, then the female mind becomes enamored. She becomes intrigued. She becomes more in love. Okay, when she starts to see you as, this guy's a bit dumb, this guy's incapable, this guy's incompetent, she will lose all attraction to you. So what I'm trying to say is, really work on yourselves, young men out there. Really work on yourselves, because if tomorrow you want to have a successful relationship, you gotta be in a position of admiration, and then your relationship will be much more easy to deal with. Once your wife or partner starts to see you as having too many vices, she'll lose all attraction to you. Okay, guys, with that said, what are we on? We're at 1:15. Hashtag cancel Faraz is already trending. That's from Alex McDonald. Yeah, I'm going to get canceled, man. I am talking about polygamy here. But guys, it's a fact of life. Men were polygamous for the vast majority of history. This monogamy stuff is very new. Very, very new. I'm just speaking in the historical context here, guys. I'm just giving you the facts, okay? I come from a long line of polygamists. I have no shame of it. I'm not ashamed at all. Think about it. If we all trace back our ancestry, who do you think outbred the other? The monogamist or the polygamist? The polygamist completely would outbreed the monogamist. How come we're monogamous? Because somebody had to artificially create a law. Now, there might be some good reasons why, but by and large, I think it was a bad idea, in my opinion. I don't think every man should have 10 wives. No, there's not that much difference in population. However, there are circumstances where it makes total sense. There are circumstances where, imagine this, okay? Imagine you're in a society where there's 100 men and 120 women. Let's keep the numbers really, really simple. Okay, there's 100 men and 120 women, and there's 100 couples, 100 men married 100 women. There are 20 women left over. What happens to those women? Well, they're going to become somebody's mistress, right? Or they're going to become lesbian, or they're going to have their needs unmet. Let's assume for the time being that they're all heterosexual. What happens to them? Well, they're going to become some guys, as you guys say in the West here, as we say. I don't even want to use the term. Now, imagine the reverse is true. Imagine there was 100 women with 120 men. So there's 20 men left over. What do? Well, it's really, really hard for a woman to have two husbands. Let me tell you why, okay? I'm going to give you guys hard facts, and a lot of you guys are living in La La Land. A lot of you guys here in the West, my friends, are living in La La Land when it comes to women. It's really bad. Women cannot have two husbands. It's really unlikely. Why? Because, first of all, a man's sex drive is far higher than a woman's. How is a woman going to keep up with two men? Now, you could point to a very rare woman, okay, which we call nymphomaniac. Yeah, they're less than 1%. There is no equivalent term for men. A man who's hyperly sexually active or is hypersexual, there's no special term because all men are hypersexual. If a woman is hypersexual, wait a second, she stands out from the pack. We're going to give her a special label because this is unique in some sense. Where it's not unique in men, all men are hypersexual. And what if the woman has two husbands and she falls pregnant? Now what? That's a major problem for many reasons I'm not going to get into. But one, first of all, who's the father of the child? Most third world countries and vast majority of history didn't have DNA testing. What do you do then? And what happens if you guys don't know what happens to a woman when she gets pregnant? She's kind of out of order for a certain period, or she has less abilities to do certain things. Now you have two men, so it doesn't work the other way around, and it's not the same. The other way around does not work. Okay, it just really doesn't work. Freud would tell you, I don't want to get too much into Freud, but Freud would tell you that men put a premium on women's loyalty for that very reason, because men never know for certain if the child is theirs. They have to go by trust, right? A woman, when she's carrying a baby, she knows it's hers. But is the man sure? Freud asks. Well, he's going on the trust system. He's going by the old honor system. Okay, so hopefully your wife was a Girl Scout once upon a time, and she goes by the honor system. Now, that lingering doubt is why men generally will always look for a woman who exhibits virtues, such as loyalty. Why? The disloyal woman, or the girl on the side, or the girl who's been, I dare not say, why is she, socially speaking, always put down? Why? Because men don't value her. Why don't they value her? Because she, being promiscuous, can maybe one day father. I might father a child, spend all my resources on somebody else's DNA, on somebody else's family. I want to spend my resources and time and energy on my DNA. So she could flip the tables on you. And this is why in society, men who have multiple partners, nobody bats an eyelid. But if a woman has multiple partners, and I know Western ideologies have changed over times, but still there's a lingering instinct, Freud would tell you, that's always going to put her on the lower end of the totem pole. Why? For this very reason. This is a Freudian reason. And I would agree with him. I think men instinctually want, the more loyal the woman, the more admiration the man will give her. Okay, guys, has YouTube crushed my channel? Am I just talking to myself? It must have been picked up by the YouTube algorithm, and I'm banned. This episode will be banned, I'm sure. She belongs to the streets. Well, Coach Red Pilled. Not quite. Coach, you should add more wrestling to the schedule. Guys, there is wrestling every day in my TriStar gym. Every day. Every jiu-jitsu class has wrestling. We do 2-3 rounds of grappling on the ground. We warm up, then we wrestle. Believe me, there is 2 wrestling classes a day in TriStar, sometimes 3. There's plenty of wrestling going on, okay? And don't be fooled, guys. If you want to train, that's all I have to say, okay? I can't say any more. What else we got here? Where's your gym located, Coach? That's a question for Google, Stefan. What else we got here? All right, guys, your messages all popped in at once. I don't know why that happened, but there was a lag, and then all your messages just jumped in. Coach, what's your ETA for TriStar Toronto, guys? Sooner than later. In 2022, I'm gonna have the digital TriStar up, and then I'm gonna have affiliate programs popping up all over with high quality instructors teaching you high quality material. And Toronto is a prime target. I promise you this. I'm hoping it'll be doors open, dare I say, 2023. Are you buying the crypto dip? That's from Focusia. Yes, I am. I will be buying the crypto dip. You missed my super chat. That's from Ricky. Ricky, I'm going up, scrolling, my friend. Hold on one second. I missed another super chat. Let me find Ricky's. Yosef. Holy moly, I missed a bunch of super chats. Look at this. Wow, I missed a bunch of super chats. What happened here? Okay, let me scroll back down. Salama, inshallah, you're doing well. You've seen the trucker convoy in Canada. Some restaurants in Quebec are opening without pass. The 30th of January as well. Hussein is saying, look, in Quebec, they're going to say, look, there's a huge movement saying we're opening January 30th, whether the government wants it or not, and we're going to do it without passes, and we are defying the government. Allahu Akbar. I'm so happy to hear this. Quebec finally is standing up for themselves. Believe you me when I tell you, we should all be open. All of us. I don't want to say the name of the bug, guys, but I'm fed up. I think politicians are getting rich. They're printing money. They're increasing the divide between the rich and the poor. You're all going to be working at Walmart. You're all going to be working for big box stores if you don't do anything quickly. The Quebec government has brainwashed, has convinced the people of a danger that the Quebec government can do nothing to protect us from. Guys, if you think the Quebec government can keep you from catching a cold, in my opinion, you are completely wrong. And I'm trying to say this in the nicest way. If you don't want to catch a bug, you need to practice common sense. Stay 2 meters away, wear your mask, wash your hands. Don't go to the wrestling club. Don't go to the Jiu-Jitsu club if you feel that you're in danger of this bug. But the mall is open. The mall is open. The subway is open. You think that putting this little band-aid, closing restaurants, is stopping COVID from circulating in Quebec? Please, you know it. I know it. This is all quarantine theater. It's all quarantine theater. People are jam-packed into stores, big box stores. It's a mosh pit of people touching things and people passing each other, crossing each other. They're all packed into the airport. When I landed in the airport, it was jam-packed with people. We're all packed in sardine cans waiting to pass the checkpoint. We're all packed in together in the airplane. You think we're really isolating people? We're not. My kids go to school all day. They mingle with other people's kids. They come home. Whatever those kids were exposed to, I'm exposed to. What does me staying home do at all? It doesn't do anything except make these politicians and big box stores rich. I'm 100% behind the defiance on January 30th. Anybody who isn't, in my opinion, will regret it, because you're gonna go broke. You're gonna slowly. They're bankrupting Quebec. They're making themselves richer and making the average Joe poorer. The divide increased. I can't remember what increased, but increased over 20% between the rich and the poor worldwide. I have to Google it again to get the exact fact. Actually, let me do that right now. Between rich and poor. Let's see what pops up. COVID-19 has doubled the amount of people living in poverty. Did you guys hear what I just read? That's the first thing to pop up. Let me get from a more credible. So CVT News, Omicron in Canada, rapid spread, rich-poor divide. Okay, CVTV News, a very credible source. Let's see here what figures they have. And I'm sure I need to read this for about an hour. I'm just gonna go for a quick headline, guys. A quick and dirty. I'm gonna do this quick and dirty. Let me catch a quick highlight. Okay, this one's more about. Damn it. Bad headline. Doesn't really cover stats. Okay, here we go. Let's go. NBC News. NBC News. A lot of people aren't going to be happy with that, but I think it's a credible source. Anyways, guys, they're not. I can't find a. Okay. What exact numbers here? Okay, guys, I'd have to sit back and read this. Guys, the divide is increased. They're saying it's doubled here. The first headline I read said it's doubled. That would be 50%. Okay. I would say, no, I wouldn't say 100%, but I would say, man, I think 100% would be too much. I think to say doubled is crazy. I'd have to read it and get the specifics why they would say that, but I can't see it being over 50%. But if it did double, man, that's insane. That's completely insane. But I find it hard to believe. I'd have to reread the article and get the details. I'm not going to do that now, just for time purposes. But look, there's been a huge divide. The rich are getting richer. The average Joe will not be able to. He can't. Already in Canada, you can't. Our average Joe cannot afford a house. If you want to buy a house in Montreal, good luck. If you want to buy a house in Laval, good luck. You want to buy a house that, inflation's not supposed to go up more than 2%. I don't want to tell you even. I don't even want to guesstimate. Inflation now is like 20%. It's insane. It's complete insanity. And for what? For what? You think, oh, we're saving lives. No, you're not. You're not saving lives. If the Quebec government shut down everything, he doesn't have the power to do so, but if he shut down everything, that would impress me. Why on earth does the government, in Quebec, the government sells all the booze. They didn't close down the booze. No, they said, you need a passport. You need a vaccination passport to get food in Quebec. But not alcohol. Alcohol, no. That's our store. No, our store. No. You guys come in droves and you buy all the alcohol you need and you spend that money. Now they flipped it. Now they said, okay, even our store now you need a passport. Why did it take so long? Because they banked in that money. They banked it in. Then they said, okay, we're going to play fair. Now you need a passport to come to our stores as well. It's hypocrisy. It's disgusting. I'm so disappointed in Quebec. Honestly, the Quebecois people they are gems. They're really a beautiful people. However, the government, I'm not so fond of, and that's very exasperating. I will support this movement on the 30th, and I wish everybody to do the same. Salam alaikum, brother Faraz. Do you have any advice on how to improve flexibility? What are your thoughts on yoga? That's from Yosef. I prefer mobility over yoga. I don't think anything wrong with yoga. I just personally don't enjoy doing lots of yoga. I have nothing against it. But I do prefer like mobility training. Okay, so look up mobility training. That's just my preferred method. What is going on? Okay. This is from Scoryboy. Hi, Coach. Do you recommend using melatonin for sleep? Any strategies for dealing with the racing thoughts at night time when you go to bed? Scoryboy, you know what I would tell you? I think melatonin is great once in a while. You can't do it all the time. It wears out. It doesn't have the same effect, at least not for me. I feel that if I take melatonin once in a while, I'll get a very good deep sleep. So I'll use it on an occasion. I have it in my drawer next to my bed. I use the one from Rogan. Rogan sent me it. You spray it on the tongue. I find it's the best. It's better than the pills. I don't know why, but the one Rogan sells, in my opinion, is the best melatonin I've ever taken. And I'm sure he got the top notch. I know Rogan. Joe is very adamant about getting the best of the best. And when I take his, it's the one you spray on the tongue. 2 sprays, I'm out. I'm sleeping deep. However, you can't do that every night. So why are you having racing thoughts? Well, you know what I would say? I would say sit down quietly 15, 20 minutes and think about everything you worry about. Like, just get it out over the way. Don't do it in your bed because you're training your system to think about that stuff when you're in your bed. Okay. The other thing is I always sleep every single night. I sleep with an audiobook or a lecture or something in my ear. I always sleep with something in my ear. Why? Because I have the same kind of issue as you. My mind just doesn't stop. So what happens is when I'm listening to something interesting, and it has to be interesting. If it's not interesting, I'll ramble. My mind will be rambling and the audiobook will be playing. So I buy all sorts. I have countless audiobooks. Like I have countless media, like countless lectures ready, like on my watch later. I have everything I need, and I find something interesting, and I listen to it maybe an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, and I'll fall asleep. I stay up late. I do, and I've always been like that. But I do a lot of learning at night, a lot, all day actually. I drive 2 hours a day, so I drive half an hour to the gym in the morning, half an hour back. That's 1 hour. Then I go back to the gym in the evening, so that's another hour of commuting. I also do a lot of listening during that, so I have maybe I would say a good 5 hours a day of listening. That's I get a lot of information. I like to keep the mind, keep learning. It's very important to me. We stand with you, coach. That's from Luca Bacchi. Luca Bacchi, my boy. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. For us, tips on polygamy. Yes, actually, I do. I'd love to give you guys a sermon on polygamy, but unfortunately, I'll probably get flagged. What was I here? Do you think it would be better if roids were allowed? That's from John Rambo. It would make for a more leveled playing field. We would have better fighters, equals better fights, equals more attention to the sport, etc. Well, you know what? Don't forget, they're hitting each other over the head, so it's inhumane. It's inhumane. Imagine there's an increase in injury and death. And what you're not considering, Mr. Rambo, is that these fighters are going to start. Oh, you're on Jews. I'm going to take more Jews than you. So now it becomes a race of chicken. Who's going to flirt with death? The more steroids I take, the more deranged I can become. The more I can poison myself. I can induce a cancer or whatnot. There are ills to taking massive amounts of PEDs. So if it becomes a race to who's going to risk dying from this stuff, you're going to have a lot of fighters dying, and they're getting hit in the head. So you're going to have steroids and concussions, and you're mixing that two together. You're playing with fire. Then fighters are going to start dying from heart attacks all of a sudden. Why? Well, you gave them the green light for steroids. Oh, but I'm going to limit it. Yeah, but they're going to cheat on that too. There should be no PEDs in your system ever. Jordan Kamal asks, if you had continued your career as a fighter, would you have been your dream opponent? That's a really weird question. I don't know what you mean by that, really, but I don't know if I would have been my dream opponent. I don't think so. That's kind of weird. Who do you think will fight in UFC in future from TriStar? That's from Nickel Grave. Well, we have a few fighters prepping for their fights right now, but I can't really talk about it too much because put two and two together, please. Coach, in hunter-gatherer society, where a majority of our evolution occurred, it was not important to distinguish if a child was yours, since there was not property to inherit. How could polygamy occur? That's from Zach M. Well, Zach, think about it. Do you think if there were two children, imagine you were in a hunter-gatherer society, as you say, and what you're saying is the community was raising them. The community was raising them. Well, that's actually, that's not a very concrete fact. Okay, you're assuming this. This is your narrative. But what you're doing is you're creating a narrative, and could be reviewed 100 years from now. New information comes about. We completely review. We don't have hard facts. Okay, yes, I understand. Archaeologists go out, they dig into the world, and then they find these artifacts and they project these ideas on them. But these ideas are not certain. Now, imagine I were in this community and there were two children. One of them looks like me. He talks like me. He acts like me. He kind of a carbon copy of me. And another one looks like another guy, actually a competitor of mine. And I have to raise these two young children. Don't you think I'd have a bias towards the one who looks like my shade of color, has my demeanor, has my habits? he has the same flaws and virtues as me. It's kind of cute. It's kind of fun. Why do you think that oftentimes children look like their father? Oftentimes they say that, genetically speaking, that it gives you a surety that that child is yours. Therefore, you want to help it. You want to back it up. You want to support it. Now, there are many theories. Your theory is just one of many competing theories. Now, look into our modern day. Imagine I were to tell you, hey, what was your name again? Pardon me. I'm sorry, what was it? Zach. Imagine I were to tell you, hey, Zach, your wife right now, she's carrying another man's baby. Would that change anything with your relationship between you and your wife? Of course it would. You blow your mind. You would get furious. You'd have all sorts of primal instincts boiling inside of you. You'd be like, you know what? I'm really angry. Why are you so angry? What's the big deal? What's the big deal, man? It's one kid or another. You wouldn't have that philosophy. You wouldn't be able to live it. Now you're saying to me that, look, sociologically, they were very different back then. No, probably not. Maybe a small part of them, yes. But I think the vast majority of men back in the day, when they knew that child was theirs, they would bond with it a lot more than if it was somebody else's child. Think about it. When you walk around in the mall and you see little kids, yeah, you think they're cute and all that, but you're not bonding with them like you had your own child. Or maybe you've never had a child, but believe you me, when you do, you will feel another level of connection with that child. Why? Because the child came from, he's your progeny. We could look at many very instances in history where progeny is paramount. Progeny is paramount. So maybe one society was an outlier. So what? So what? The vast majority of men want to know that that child belongs to them. You go and try to make it popular to raise other people's children. Hell no. You're not going to get a lot of people signing up to this. It's going to backfire on you, my friend. You're welcome, Zach. You're the man. I appreciate you. Coach, what do you think about Francis missing $7 million over the past 2 years because he didn't want to sign a new contract and wanted to be free? That's from Hakeem. For those of you guys who don't know, there's an estimate floating around that if Ngannou had played by the rules and won all the fights he did, he would have made $7 million more than he did now. Wow. I'm telling you, his next fight better be a contract that guarantees that amount and more. And if he gets a Tyson Fury fight, I estimate that it would be far greater, probably be a $20 million, $15 million fight. I couldn't see it being less, man. It'll be a mega fight. I mean, I assume this is what they would bid for it. I mean, it has to be. If he gets anything less, it would be a crime. It would be really, because he's walking away. I mean, I hope he fights in UFC again. Don't get me wrong. I want to see him in MMA, but I understand he's going to be looking for a money fight. But you got to give it to him, man. The guy played the game. He took a huge risk. He could have lost against Cyril. He could have lost, man. They could have cut him. They could have said, you know what? You lost. We don't want you anymore. You're playing hardball with us. And then, yeah, he'd go back and he'd fight, but he wouldn't fight a Tyson Fury. He wouldn't get a mega deal. Like he's not going to make any money anywhere else. It was a very dangerous game. Ngannou played, man. And he got out of it, and he got out of it successfully. But, man, did he have the guts. That's an incredible amount of guts. Because $7 million, guys, is a lot of money. That's a lot of Bitcoin, my friend. That's a lot of cheddar. Okay, guys, what else we got here? Coach, how locked down is Quebec? And did you get vaccinated after the tax? That's from James. James, you know what? I'm not anti-vaccine. I want you guys know I'm fully vaccinated. I'm not anti-vaccine. I think people should have the choice. That's my opinion. If you're going to tax people who are not vaccinated, then tax people who are obese. Tax people who smoke. I don't agree with taxing people who are not vaccinated. That's their personal choice. If the death rate goes up by 10%, people are going to beg for vaccines. Like, why do you have to force me to get vaccinated? If Omicron is so dangerous, why do you have to force me? Just show me the people suffering in the bed. Like, give us the statistics. You know why people are not getting vaccinated? Because they don't trust their government. They think their government is a lying, manipulative weasel. That's what they think. We all trust science. We all got vaccinated when we were kids. We all vaccinated our children. Nobody said no to vaccines. They're saying no to this vaccine. Why? Because they think it's been politicized. COVID has been so heavily politicized. These guys have made so much money with COVID. There was a piece on a mask factory they were making $2 million a day on the news. And they were saying, look, they went from masking less than 1% of the population, far less, like 0.0001% of the population. Now they're masking 100% of the population, like the 100% of the population need masks. They're making $2 million a day. Like, that's just the mask companies. Like, they're making so much bank. You're not going to stop hearing about this until the people get fed up. If the people, it's a vicious circle. All these news outlets, they get paid by clicks. Every time you click, they make money. If they scare you with a COVID headline, if they say, hey, nothing's new with COVID, nobody's clicking on that. COVID, imminent, death, pain, suffering. Everybody clicks. It's a vicious circle. You get excited by these headlines. It gives you a drama that you need for the day. Then they make more headlines. It's just a vicious circle. We're just feeding it. We're feeding it. I'm so sick about the bug, man. I am so sick of hearing this thing. I'm not in denial of it. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just telling people, look, at the end of the day, you know what they're going to do? They're going to circle back. Mark my words on this. They're going to be like, look, guys, we have to live with it. Personal responsibility. We'll never be able to get rid of it. It's just like the cold. It's seasonal. Protect yourself as best you can. Take precautions. Be smart. Get your shots annually. And people are going to manage it. If you're older, if you have comorbidity, if you're obese, you should take your shot. If you're not, well, here are your risks. Here are the stats. Make your own decisions. That's where they're going to get down to. We should be there already. But the party is not going to stop, man. If I played you sound bites, if you heard okay, I'm going to play something really interesting for you guys, okay? You guys want to hear what a circus our government is putting on. Let me make you guys hear something really fascinating here. All right.
Bill associated with this proposal.
Listen to this. He just asked them where. He's asking this gentleman here. What's his name again? Pierre Poilievre. He's asking, okay, you guys are asking for $7 billion. He's asking the Canadian government wants $7 billion. Okay. Where are we getting the money from? This is the question. No answer. There's 10 employees from the Minister of Finance. Nobody can answer.
Anyone who wants to answer.
Somebody edited, obviously, the Jeopardy music. Hilarious.
If they have anyone over there that is concerned about where the money comes from, that person could speak up.
Maybe you could choose one of the witnesses.
I don't know who on their side is responsible for this, but clearly they're getting money from somewhere, so they must know where. Anyone here from Finance Canada?
See Mr. Baylor?
Mr. Chair, I can provide a high-level response, but I'm afraid I won't be able to answer directly the honourable member's question because we're here to discuss it. And I can say, with regards to the cost of the measures, in terms of part.
Basically, the government's saying, oh, we can't tell you. We don't know. We don't have that information. What the? Like, it's insanity, man. We have become insane. The country, Quebec, has become insane. $7 million. Where's it going to come from? Oh, we can't tell you. We don't know. It's a joke. It's become a joke here. In Montreal, in Quebec, it's become a joke. It's sad. It's quarantine theater. They're not really quarantine guys. I'm telling you, it's a joke. I can't even say the word because I'll get flagged probably, or it's insanity. The people become insane. The guy who went on Rogan and said it was mass psychosis. That's how I see it too. People have become crazy, guys. I tell my kids, I can't even tell you what I tell my kids because I'm gonna get in trouble. I can't even voice my opinion. I can't even tell you guys, like, I know a guy who tells his kids. I can't even say it. I can't even say it that way. I got to be really careful. Look, at the end of the day, a thought experiment for all you late night listeners. Thought experiment. Imagine you were really, really young, and I put a mask on you. I told you, look, you gotta wear this mask because of germs and bugs and all sorts of evil things out there. And I isolated you from other kids, from interacting with other kids. and you grew up in this kind of environment where you're washing your hands, or you should wash your hands, but you're disinfecting your hands, you're disinfecting the surfaces, and you're constantly monitoring your contact with other people, keeping a distance, you're not being exposed to your environment too much, and constantly wearing a mask. And then you're in your adulthood, I take off that mask. I'm like, look, you're an adult now, go out in the world. What's going to happen to that kid? Well, he's probably going to have allergies, at least. He's going to have severe allergies that maybe he wouldn't have developed if he wasn't wearing a mask. He's probably going to be a germaphobe. He's probably going to be socially awkward. He's probably going to be a fuddy-duddy that needs his little personal space, and he can't mix in with the regulars. He can't, have people close to him, and this is how he was raised. This is how he's comfortable. And it's a type of poverty in my mind. Unfortunately, it's a type of poverty. It's going to limit his experience as a human being. He's going to miss out on a lot of great experiences. Now, contrast that with another child who said, look, don't worry about the bug. It has 0.0 death rate in your age group. Go out and be exposed to it. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Wash your hands like normal. Train with play basketball. Do all the regular things kids do. What's going to happen to that kid? Well, I'll tell you, that kid in the second scenario B, the one who doesn't bubble himself and wear a mask needlessly, he's going to be far more resilient to the bug as an adult, in my opinion, than the kid in scenario A. That kid, when the big bug happens in 10 years from now, it's morphed. You're going to have a lot less. The one who is hiding and in quarantine, he's going to have a lot less a resilience to this bug. Whereas the child in scenario B will be far more resistant, in my opinion. I mean, this is, historically speaking, this is what's been the case. When you're exposed to something on a regular basis from a young age, you become resilient to it. What are all these knuckleheads doing wearing a mask? I hate when I go in public and people are like, can you adjust your mask, sir? Can you please adjust your mask? Oh, I'm like, yeah, for you, I have to. Because out of respect for you, even though the guy's standing in the other side of the world, like he's 20 meters away from me, but because my mask is a little bit to the side, excuse me, sir, excuse me, sir. I'm like, dude, I could take this mask and literally eat it. Like that's what an animal I am. When you're asking me from over there, like you really want me to adjust my mask because you're scared that the airflow is somehow gonna connect. People have become insane, man. People have become insane. They're I can't say the word, but they're bug happy. I think it's a type of therapy for most people. It's like something to talk about. Oh, we're facing this challenge together. You know why you're facing this challenge? Because you don't have any other real challenges in your life. All due respect, and I don't want to sound cavalier. Okay, I know a lot of people are suffering from COVID. The bug. I don't want to sound like I'm insensitive to that. Okay, I feel very sorry for people who are suffering from it. I know people are dying from it. I understand people are having a hard time, very troublesome time. But what I'm saying is not that we shouldn't help those people. Of course, we should put all our medical attention, all our experts, like go all the way to help the people in need. Go all the way, and I'm happy to pay my taxes to help them. I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to even donate and go extra. However, what I think is insane, and I want to be clear here, it's not that we're helping and protecting those people. What I think is insane is the quarantine theater. It's not real quarantine. It's just quarantine theater. It doesn't work. It doesn't make a difference. There's no proof. One scientist said it best. There was one scientist went online. He was saying, look, we know for a fact that these quarantines are increasing. Look what they're increasing. Domestic violence, depression, child abuse, drug abuse, depression, suicide. They're increasing all of these things. This we know for a fact. However, what we don't know is if it's doing anything at all to stop COVID. If it's slowing the COVID at all at any rate, because people are not really quarantining. People are still getting together. People are still doing it under the guise of quarantine, but they're still literally going to the mall. Like literally the mall is freaking open. Like how on earth are you in quarantine when people are trampling themselves around in a mall? Like they're circulating in a closed building. People are touching items nonstop. People are literally, it's hilarious. You go to the mall here in Quebec and they're all lined up in a bunch because you're only allowed X amount of people in the store. Okay, so line them up, group them up, and they group them up in like this S-shaped mosh pit. Oh, but you're separating them once they get in the store. They line up bunched. Yes, they're bunched. But COVID in a lineup doesn't spread. It must not, because that's from their brilliant minds. They said, Look, don't limit the amount of people in the mall. Limit the amount of people in the store. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because when you're in the store, you won't catch COVID. And when you come out, they'll let another guy in. And that way you're at 50% capacity. But the mall itself has no limitation. So people are jam-packed together in a mosh pit. And then we'll let them in one by one. It's complete stupidity. And then the guy in the store will be like, hey, excuse me, sir, your mask is a little bit. You think that's the problem? You think my mask is 1 millimeter too low? You think this is the problem? The problem is that you guys are all packed in together before you come in. But that's not a problem. You don't see that as a problem. The insanity that I've witnessed in Quebec is scary, man. It's really, really scary. It's like people have become stupid. People have become insane. They're not dumb. They're playing along. They're playing along. They can't be that dumb. It's impossible. It's impossible they don't see the stupidity. They're just saying, look, yes, we stand in line here, then we go in there, but we're enjoying this. We're enjoying this. We're enjoying this theater. We're enjoying it. Look, we're going to remember these years, the years we were in COVID. Guys, statistically, in the demographic that I'm in, I have about the same chance of dying from COVID as getting hit by lightning. That's my statistically where I am. Why shouldn't I go wrestle? Why shouldn't I go train every day? Why shouldn't I open my gym? Why shouldn't I train every single day? Okay, if I come across an elderly person, I'll keep my 2 meters away. I will not come anywhere near. I was just recently in Las Vegas where everything is open. Literally everything's open. When I see an elderly person, I stay away from them. I common courtesy. That person might be in danger of COVID. More than common courtesy. I'll put my mask on tighter. I'll walk around that person. He won't have to walk around me. I'll walk around him. You know, common courtesy, educating the people how, and that elderly person maybe should be quarantined. Maybe he has a disease. Maybe he's at risk. My beef is not with when I'm talking. My argument here is that we should protect. Of course, we should protect people who are suffering COVID at all costs. Yes, but not with quarantine theater. The government here is not protecting people from COVID at all. And they pat themselves on the back and they say, look, it's all lies. I would love to cross-examine. And here's the thing. They don't allow public debate here in Quebec. For me, this is like unacceptable. We're not allowed public debate. And our great leader, Kim Jong-Legault, he says, I'm not going to allow public debate because it's going to expose the Quebecois to conspiracy theories. That's literally his answer, guys. Google it. I'm telling you, it's not a joke. I'm not making this up. The guy literally said this. He said, look, I don't want to expose their fragile... He didn't say... I'm exaggerating now, okay? He doesn't want to expose our fragile minds, okay? He didn't use the word fragile. I'm using it. But he said, look, I don't want to expose them to conspiracy theories. This is dumb. This is the dumbest thing a leader has ever said in our country. The dumbest thing. Okay, it's among the dumbest things. It's got to be equal with the rest of the dumb things. You think we're going to fall, if we cross-examine, if we have an experts debate, we're going to fall into conspiracy theories? We didn't say bring out Alex Jones to cross-examine you. We didn't say that. We said bring out experts to have a dialogue and a civil dialogue to figure out, is what we're doing making sense? Bring it out on the table. Why are you making these decisions? They don't make sense to us. Make sense of it. You know what? If tomorrow the government comes out and gives a rational argument for why the mall should be open and the gym should be closed, I will shut down and I will yield and I will accept him and I will accept his decision. However, expect civil disobedience from me when you tell me to do something without giving me a rationale. I think it's my duty as a citizen to be disobedient because Kim Jong-Legault really thinks he's more powerful than he actually is. He's not that powerful. Yet the Quebecois pretend or assume that he's that powerful. He's not. He's not that powerful. Hey, coach, I've watched your Guillotine Traps DVD, but I am still having trouble when opponents hop hips to the wrong side. Could you talk more on this? That's from Chad Steele. Chad, I think you got to rewatch the video and focus on the switcheroo. The switcheroo in that video is money. It's worth the whole cost of the video. I think, in my opinion, that's my go-to, my fail-safe. Okay, so drill the switcheroo, and if you drill it long enough, you'll get the timing right. You have to know how to do it, and you have to time it right. Now, if you drill it enough, you'll time it correctly, And believe me, you'll use that move. I've been using it for a very, very long time. It has worked for me time and time again. I used it today. I use it all the time. It is a golden maneuver. It's an A++ maneuver. When they jump to the wrong side, switch a room on them. I promise you. I promise you it'll work. Guys, do me a favor. Go to BJJ Fanatics. Read my reviews on all my videos. You know, everybody who's gotten the video gave a 5-star review. Go on jujiclub.com, guys. Please, if you watch that. If you have bought a video from mine, leave an honest review on jujiclub.com. Kim Jong Logo is making it hard for us to earn a living these days. You know, they're just making it really bad for us. So we're doing everything we can to, you know, keep the ball rolling. I have lots of plans for 2022. I'll be able to travel and do everything. I'm going to open gyms in different places. I'm going to do all sorts of intelligent things. So the next time they shut me down, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it will never work. I refuse to bow down to these knuckleheads with their quarantine theater. All right, guys, we are in an hour and 55 minutes. The time has flown by. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to do one last one, and then we will. Monsieur Lego. Luca Bakey says, China is taking over, and it won't be pretty. Well, I'm starting to think Canada is becoming more like China. You know, we're getting more and more like China each day. Coach, what is your opinion on Russia banning crypto? That's from CSSVODIN. Okay, guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about crypto. If you're not into crypto, just like, share, and comment as usual and end it right here. But I'm going to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. I tell you why I don't worry at all for when crypto crashes or governments such as Russia or China ban it. I personally believe that more and more countries are going to adopt blockchain as a monetary system because it is trustworthy. Every country that's been dollarized, or every country that doesn't trust their government, like if you look at Lebanon, for instance, their government has betrayed the people. If you want to pull your money out of a Lebanese bank, you can't. You can only do so to a certain degree. So you got to go to the bank, take out what you're allowed to take out, even though you have more money to take out. You're not allowed to take it out. They forbid you. And then you can go buy your groceries. You can go wait 4 hours in line for gas. Life is hell right now. It wouldn't be the case if you had crypto. So countries like that, if I was Lebanese, I am Lebanese, if I was living in Lebanon and I had crypto, I wouldn't be deterred at all by the bank, what the bank does. Countries that don't trust their government are going to naturally gravitate to crypto. Crypto will always have a place in the monetary system. Why? If you understand what cryptocurrency is, it's just a ledger. A bank, your bank holds the ledger. It holds who has what. You know, if I have $1 million in my bank account, it writes Coach Zahabi has $1 million in his bank account. If I send you $100,000, it says Coach Zahabi now has $900,000 in his bank account. It's a ledger. That's all it is. But they control the ledger and they don't let anybody see it. Bitcoin is a ledger that is out of anybody's control. So if you don't trust the government, let's use this ledger that's out of everybody's control. We don't have to trust anybody. And of course, I'm giving you guys in a nutshell explanation. But that's why I have such a huge belief in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because people are going to gravitate to what is trustworthy. And crypto is going to be trustworthy. Like, for instance, look at the government of Brazil. Oh, there's corruption in the government. Oh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to start putting my money in Bitcoin. Why? Because tomorrow, if they flip on us, whatever I had in Bitcoin is not a problem for me. It's whatever I have in Bitcoin, they can't touch. They can't control. Like, for instance, tomorrow, if Quebec goes berserk and says, hey, you know what? We're going to freeze your bank account if you didn't get vaccinated. Well, guess what, man? I won't even bat an eyelid. I'll be like, hey, I'm going to move out of the country and I'm going to take my assets with me. And you can't do anything about it. Why? Because I have my assets in crypto. There's that type of freedom that's going to be paramount in many countries where governments are running amok. Now, if you know your history, governments always run amok. They're always a problem. Throughout history, around the world, there are bad governments. People are going to gravitate to crypto. Now, here's the other thing is every single smartphone is a bank account now. Most people in the world, in third world countries don't have bank accounts. If you have a smartphone, you have a bank account. If you have crypto. So, for all these reasons, crypto is going to stick around. But here's the mother lode of all reasons why you should get into crypto. And this is, guys, do your own research. Don't take my advice. Don't take anything I say as financial advice. Okay, do your own research. There's a 4-year cycle. 4 years ago, crypto was probably like Bitcoin was probably like at 5K, at 10K at most. Now it's 30. I don't know. Let's call it. I haven't looked at it today, but it's like, let's say it's 34K. That's considered crashed. Man, it was 10K. Let's say at best 4 years ago. Look at it now. That's massive. So it's a 4-year cycle. If you wait 4 years, if you hold Bitcoin and you wait 4 years, you can't lose. So the Michael strategy, if you guys watch my episode with him, he's basically telling you that, let's say you had $100,000 of Bitcoin. If you hold it for 4 years, let it go down 80%. It drops to 20K. Who cares? Don't panic. Relax. We're talking about 4-year horizon. He says if you don't have a 4-year horizon, don't get into Bitcoin. Okay, this is a Michael Saylor strategy. Now, for instance, if I take that Bitcoin and I wait 4 years, he's saying it's going to be like 400K in 4 years. It's going to explode. Don't worry about it. There's a halvening in every 4 years. It's actually a little less than 4 years, but approximately every 4 years, there's a halvening. You have to mine just as much to get half the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is becoming more and more scarce. So it drives up the price, and more people are adopting it. Every week, millions of people are adopting Bitcoin. Literally millions of people are downloading the wallets, Bitcoin wallets. So he's saying, look, when you have a decrease in demand and you have an increase in demand and decrease in supply, it's natural for Bitcoin to keep going up. And at one point, there'll be no more Bitcoins to mine. That's 100 years from now. But now we're going to have to split the Bitcoins. We're going to have to divide them. It's becoming more and more deflationary. As Bitcoin matures, it's becoming more and more deflationary. But what he's saying is that one day, you're going to have that $100,000 of Bitcoin is now $1 million of Bitcoin. And he goes, guess what? You don't even have to sell it. You can go to a decentralized exchange. You can borrow against your Bitcoin. If that loan, you're paying it over 4 years, guess what? Your Bitcoin's going to double again, triple again. So he's saying you can keep paying off your loans with the increased value of your Bitcoin. And you could do that perpetually. He believes you could do that perpetually. Now, is he a daydreamer? Is he crazy? Well, let me tell you something. He's put in $7 billion into Bitcoin. He's at when I interviewed him, he's at $3 billion. Now he's at $7 billion. Now there was a market crash. He's probably a lot lower than that now, but he's probably like around $5 billion. The guy's putting his money where his mouth is. I personally, listen, I've been in Bitcoin before Michael Saylor, but I didn't go in his amounts, obviously. Like he's going at ridiculous amounts. I bought petty amounts. But nonetheless, it was still the best investment I ever made in my life. Now, am I planning to sell Bitcoin ever? No, I will never sell my Bitcoin ever. I will just borrow against it in the future. Have I ever borrowed against my Bitcoin? No, I don't have the need to. However, if things go sideways, or I plan to give my Bitcoin to my kids personally. I hope for it to stay in my family forever. However, nonetheless, if tomorrow I were to need it, I could use it. But Bitcoin is a very special asset because one, it's theoretically resistant to destruction heavily. Michael Saylor will call it indestructible. I wouldn't, but it's almost indestructible. And it's almost impossible to manipulate it. These are two things. This is staying true. Bitcoin is staying true to the principles laid out by Adam Smith. Adam Smith's theory is that free market will always beat controlled markets. This is massive. If you understand Adam Smith, then you would be a believer in Bitcoin. Adam Smith would have loved Bitcoin. Now, our controlled markets like Chinese market and Russian markets, are they ever going to outdo the free Western markets? I personally think it's possible. Some people out there would say, no, the free market is always going to be superior. Adam Smith is correct. I don't know about that. You know, I think that the controlled markets have some advantages, and I'm more of a free market guy. Believe me, okay. I wouldn't want to be. If I rule the world, I would make it a free market. However, I think that it would be naive to say that the Chinese don't have a good economy, and that it's not going to last a very long time. It's becoming a super economy. It's probably the greatest economy in the world right now. I mean, that's what I would think if I had to guess. Do they have an abundant future? I would guess yes. They have a very abundant future coming their way. But they don't have a free market per se. It's not going to be as free as the US per se. So I think there's pros and cons, and it's debate. It's open for debate. But there's going to be a time and place where controlled markets might outdo the free market for a time period. And then the free market comes back and seesaws back and forth. But ultimately speaking, who wins out? I would say it's the free market. But don't get me wrong. I think there's going to be a seesaw battle. And eventually, in the long run, the free market principles will work out. However, Bitcoin is the ultimate free market. And I want to stay a certain level of free. A certain level. Tomorrow, they tell me, hey, we're going to tax you. We're gonna freeze your bank account if you're not vaccinated. Listen, again, I'm not an anti-vax. I am vaccinated. I'm just saying, if I didn't want to get vaxxed, I wouldn't need to if I had Bitcoin. I wouldn't need to. However, if all my money was tied up in fiat currency, I might have to. I would feel very pressured, right? I wouldn't want to lose all my life savings, etc. Okay, guys, with that said, I hope you had as much fun as I did. I enjoyed this very much. Thank you all for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. Don't forget to let me know your suggestions for the 100th episode. I would love to hear what you guys have in mind, and I will try to implement it. Thank you all.